Welcome to OAA Now, your home for Oakland Activities Association news and information. Here's your host, Sammy Taramina.
Happy 2018, everybody. Here, I'm Sammy Taramina, blog of the Dragon's Den, blog for Inside the OAA, and one of the hosts, Tweet Terminas on Orion Neighborhood Television. We'd like to also welcome our friends that are watching and are hearing us on YouTube. I got Ian Locke again to celebrate the 2018 year.
Happy New Year, Sam. 2018, fluffy white snowflakes flying outside the window.
It's supposed to get cold. You know what I mean? It's supposed to get chilly.
Supposed. It's been for like 2 weeks.
I know, but it's supposed to get even worse.
I know. It's
unfortunate.
It's brutal. Hey, we're supposed to have a warm-up, though. Can you imagine when it hits 30 degrees? We're going to put some shorts on,
I
run
doubt
outside.
it. Sure, I doubt it. I mean, I doubt it. But let's talk about some big-time stories. We're recapping the Round Ball game. We're going to talk about Clarkston's shocking loss to East English Village Prep. And is there a blueprint to expose the Clarkston Wolves?
Ooh.
There is. I mean, but let's go to our main story here. Of course, it's been we're going to talk about this for 3.5 weeks.
Yeah, and a lot has happened. I mean,
and a lot has happened since the last time we've been on the air.
Yeah,
and that's the Thomas Kithier situation. His family has officially sued the MHA and Chippewa Valley Schools in federal court. Of course, a suit saying that their 14th rights of the Constitution were violated. Basically saying that they were wronged at Macomb, Dakota, saying that they're seeking damages. You know, and the people named the lawsuit are really interesting names.
Okay.
Of course, you have the MHA and the Chippewa Valley School District.
Mm-hmm. We knew that was coming.
Yep, along with their executive director, Jack Roberts.
Oh.
Tom Rashad, of course, the associate director we talked about.
Okay.
Chippewa Valley Superintendent Ron Roberts.
Whoa.
And Macomb, Dakota Athletic Director Michael Fusco and Principal Paul Sibley.
I don't understand the superintendent side.
I'm not sure why
Maybe
either.
They're the CEO of the corporation,
But what surprises me...
Put everybody's name down.
But what surprises me out of this whole thing was they filed the lawsuit in federal court in Detroit, in the Eastern District, whereas, Lansing, where the MHA is located, is on the western side, Western Federal Court, which would be in Grand Rapids. So I'm a little surprised that it was filed in Detroit.
Wow.
And then this is the most shocking one, was there was harassment involved.
Yeah, that's the new
one.
Information. Yeah.
And it of course, it was by
alleged. We should say alleged.
It's alleged, yes, by his former coach Paul Taco. Now we both, as I said a couple weeks ago, we both knew that the reason why the Kithier family would leave was because, they had a strained relationship with Macomb, Dakota, and their head coach.
Something went sour. Obviously.
Something went very sour. I mean, and that's why they decided to make the leave. The case will be heard in front of Judge Marianne Batteni. She's the federal judge. That's who's going to be hearing the case. They have 2 affidavits in this one.
Okay.
One from Rod Rock.
Who's the superintendent at
Clarkston.
Yep.
And then from Kithier's mother. I want to read a little bit of what she had to say.
Yeah.
There were unfit academic conditions at Dakota, including classrooms in which his teachers do not control over their classrooms, which create a chaotic and substandard learning environment for Thomas, as well as alleging some teachers often do not return tests and papers in a timely manner.
Well, this goes back.
How do you prove that?
Exactly. And
how do you prove that?
But that also goes back to what we were talking about, a couple weeks ago before, the holidays hit. It's
hard to describe. I know.
Is it really academic related? And at this point, do you return tests in a timely manner? Those of you who haven't been in high school in a while, I have a sophomore currently in high school, at least here in the Orion area. All that stuff is online.
Yes,
and
all that stuff's online.
And there's delays. Yes, we get it, but you're not going to get a physical test back.
Well, teachers are humans too,
Exactly.
And you look at, she's alleging here that,
they're trying. In my opinion, I don't mean to cut you off, Sam, but the whole academic thing, I don't believe the academic side. I mean, maybe there were some issues. They weren't happy with it. He wishes he could have some exposure to the media classes and such that they don't have over there, because that's what he wants to do.
I'm a
right?
communication guy.
Which is cool. That's what I did, right? And so you're like, but to say it's academic only.
It's in the lawsuit here.
I just think it's a stretch.
I disagree with her affidavit. I really disagree on part of her affidavit. And I know she also alleges that once Macomb Dakota knew that he would transfer, they started harassing him.
Yeah, so that's
the reason why.
Yeah,
I think that's the only part, because I mean, like, I would believe her affidavit is that she also alleges that once Macomb Dakota officials knew that he would transfer, they started harassing him. It also alleges on 6 occasions that Taco called Kitnier caused him to be 15 minutes late for a class because he wanted to talk about his future plans when he left Macomb Dakota. And another one alleges that another teacher removed Kitnier from an English class where he was taking an exam just to persuade him to stay at Macomb Dakota.
Really?
I mean...
well, that could be corroborated by the instructor. That would be... I mean, you can get a timeline together. They know that would be all on record.
Mm-hmm.
At least
it has to be on record.
Yeah, because they'd have. I mean, to have that in there, you'd have to have evidence of some sort. So
it has to be on record. I mean, and then
But the harassment thing—that's the new angle.
That's the new angle.
That's the one we haven't heard.
And then of course, once his mind was made up that he was leaving, once his mind was made up, Taco and other Macomb Dakota officials took jabs at him at social media.
Oh,
there's people at Macomb Dakota I know that wore shirts that said loyalty on them, and that, I think, angles to this situation.
Really? Where did you hear that?
I was having a conversation. I had a conversation from my sources.
Okay.
I had some conversation with my sources.
Wow.
Saying that Macomb Dakota was wearing shirts that said loyalty. Yeah, students.
Really?
And that was...
Well, there's a negative atmosphere there. I mean, if he's still walking the halls and you see that, then why would you want to stay?
Oh, yeah.
Would
you... I mean, I can understand why he wanted to go.
Interesting. If that proves to be true.
If it proves to be true. I mean, Rock's affidavit said there was
I'm curious about him.
Rod Rock's affidavit, it said there was a friendship between Fusco and Rashad, and that the friendship was the reason why he was ineligible. And he also mentions the conversation between Rashad and Jeff Cozen, who's the AD at Clarkson, where they were both not on the same page, and that these actions were reprehensible in the face of a young man who deserves equal, fair, and unbiased due process.
Yeah.
And they said, now, the reason why Kitnier's ineligible is because of the links rule.
Yes.
Between him and Foster Loyer.
Which I'm no devil's advocate. I mean, I'm not a fan of the MHSA on the rules and that sort of thing, but they have a leg to stand on with that
evidence,
rule, right?
There's evidence there.
I mean,
there's evidence
you can't
there.
say that they're stretching to prove that.
But in the lawsuit, it said the undue influence was the friendship between Fusco and Rashad, which has gone back for 30 years.
Yeah.
They're saying that.
Well, and then I think the argument I read from the other side, from the MHSAA, was saying that, it's a small community of ADs and that have to deal with the MHSA. They know each other for years and years. It's not unusual. They develop relationships, which I can completely see. I mean, we have a professional organization that we belong to here at ONTV. And over the years, we get to know people, and now, people move through the ranks, and now they're running these organizations, that sort of thing.
I got a question to ask you now.
Sure.
If the Kitchener family decided not to go to Clarkson and went to Troy Community Schools, Utica schools, and Grosse Pointe schools, does this happen?
No.
Does this happen?
See, that's tough because I don't know. Does it happen meaning that he would be ineligible? I have a feeling they would let him play.
They would let it.
I think he would be play. I think Dakota would have signed off on it.
But here's an interesting one.
But that's speculation. Who knows?
In the lawsuit, Rashad said he would be eligible to play at Macomb Dakota.
Yeah.
And, for Kitchener to go from Clarkson to Macomb, Dakota.
Oh, he said he's welcome to drive
He's
back.
welcome to drive back to Macomb, Dakota. And
or so many.
that's it's not going to happen.
No, and to say that
if he had reason to leave Macomb, Dakota to go to Clarkson, he had a big reason to do that.
Yeah.
But if his reasoning was, I want to have a better academic school, better radio school, better communication school, and go to Clarkson because I know Clarkson's got a very improving communication school. And, if he wants to go, there, fine. The issue is, I think what he said in the media, that allegedly, and the MHA found evidence on this was, he wanted to play with foster lawyer.
Yeah.
Do
they have that in writing? And did they say it out loud? I mean, and what else? I'm trying to remember. Back now, it's been a week or two.
Mm-hmm.
They've been pretty. I'm going to say they've been tight-lipped up the MHSAA. But, John Johnson, their spokesperson, was very academic about it, and obviously because they're being sued. At the point of their statement, they said they haven't seen the actual lawsuit details and that sort of thing, so they can only speak on certain things and the rules. And
I want to go more.
But what was that one statement, Sam? We were talking about it, I think it was last Friday, that they said new evidence has come to light.
Right.
This is the MHSAA that will be reviewed.
Yeah.
And
it'll be on January 10th, the MHA.
Yeah.
Executive committee meeting.
And to that means that maybe there's wiggle room. Maybe
there's some wiggle room, yes. Whereas Rashad and Roberts both recused themselves.
Oh, they did.
They both recused themselves because they're being sued. Now, this will be very interesting if Clarkson gives them new information, you know what I mean? Yeah. And they find, that this was a legal transfer, and that he...
But what if you roll into this situation where, they find there's harassment. The kid doesn't want to go there again. That's why he wants to leave, and they have evidence of it. Mm-hmm. But the MHSAA isn't wrong saying that he broke the links rule.
Well, I know the relationship between Paul Taco, and I'm not a big fan of Paul Taco nor his team, especially what they have done with the transfers that they've gotten.
Yeah.
Of course.
Well, I'm glad you said that because wasn't there something they said they had evidence, or Clarkson or somebody has evidence of past preferential treatment from MHSAA
Macomb,
to
Dakota has, let's look at Macomb, Dakota's not a rosy team when you look at transfers.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't say the same for Clarkston. You know what I mean?
It's like Peyton Place, man.
I can't say the same for Clarkson, but I think Macomb, Dakota is worse than Clarkson when it comes to transfers because let's not forget, Macomb, Dakota they got 3 transfers.
Yes.
4 transfers.
Yeah, we talked about this before.
Jack Ballanite. You know what I mean? I mean, they're not a rosy team when it comes to transfers. I mean, their whole team was built on transfers.
Now, if it's on
how they got the state Final Four a couple years ago, that team was built on transfers.
But then again, everything they did fell under the letter of the rules. Mm-hmm. Then, right? Isn't that why? I mean, partly this sort of thing is why they brought in the links rule, right?
Yeah.
So now they're enforcing the links rule.
They're enforcing the links rule
because it's a new rule.
I don't think they enforce it right, the MHA, because here's why. Because and I know the MHA is going to make some changes on this rule this spring.
They're going to have to.
They're going to have to.
They got to have clear.
They've got to be clear on all transfers.
Exactly.
On all writing.
Exactly.
They got to be clear on all transfers. And so this doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
But I took a very interesting affirm from Steve Fishman, who is one of the attorneys representing the Kitchener family. And he went on to the media and said that they would work this case for free.
Yes.
However, in the lawsuit, he's seeking $75,000 in damages from both the MHA and Chippewa Valley and, of course, the attorneys and the defendants.
Yeah. Well, damages doesn't necessarily mean lawyers' fees, right? A lawyer gets paid if they win or lose, typically.
Yeah.
Right? So if he's doing it pro bono, I'm not charging you the lawyer fees, but potentially he'll take a cut of the settlement. Who knows? Mm-hmm. But we mentioned this before. You brought it up. That was a good point that he's a friend of the family. The lawyer, one of the lawyers was a roommate of
Dan Fife.
So, I should say a friend of the program.
Yeah.
So he's taking it on free of charge, supposedly. But yeah, damages, I was surprised when you brought that number up, or at least saying there's damages when we sat down today, is that it's not unheard of.
No.
But to throw out damages, it means they probably have
they're
something.
seeking damages.
Yeah, they want.
It looks like that there's some evidence here,
Yeah.
and I want to talk about another part.
I'm glad they didn't say like $1 million. You're like, come on, man.
I want to talk about another one.
Yeah.
Why is Paul Taco not in this lawsuit?
The coach.
Yeah. The coach in Macomb.
That's a good question. Good question. Well, maybe
could he testify? Could he? He'll be. He'd be called as a witness.
Oh, you'd have to. The only reason I can see he's not in it is because he's not part of the administration, right? So the administration is the ones that aren't they the ones that sign off on the final
They're
documents?
The ones that sign off on the final documents.
The coach probably has a say.
But why isn't Paul Taco involved in this lawsuit when you look at, of course, the treatment that Kitnier had to suffer through that allegedly Taco gave him to, you know what I mean? Basically,
But I would say this, is that you go after the people who run the business, right? You can't go after everybody, but you're going after those who are in the administration who are officially signing off or not signing off. So that's who they're pressuring to sign off.
Right.
But, yeah.
But when you look at the alleged undue influence of course...
Well, geez... I'm glad you said that too, because that undue influence. And they say there's somebody brought up Izzo's name for the first time.
Yeah.
Last week, saying, well, maybe he's got a little. We heard rumors that Izzo was saying, don't transfer. He goes, stay there, stay at Dakota, just ride it out, stay there.
Right. But if he would have went to a prep school, you know what I mean, but if he would have. But you could tell the relationship between the Kitchener family and Taco was very toxic, Yeah,
it was a good one.
Macomb, Dakota was really upset when they were hearing that he was leaving, Kitchener was leaving. It's crazy.
It's crazy. And if you think in the grand scheme of the world, like, these are high school kids, man.
If Kitchener would have been, and then to hear what Rashad said about Macomb, Dakota, saying that he would be eligible right away if he played at Macomb, Dakota.
Yes. All he has to do is drive over here or something like that.
That's pretty.
Yeah.
That's damning, in my opinion.
Well, I don't know if damning it is, but it doesn't look good.
It doesn't look good.
The optics are funky.
But this is going to make Macomb, Dakota more vilified, as they already are.
It could. Especially, the only way. Here's a question for you. How do you think Dakota gets out of this? Do they get out clean? Do they care?
I don't think they get out of this clean. I really don't. I think when you look at the situation, and the Kitcheners say they have evidence that Taco and his staff harassed them.
See, that was Kitchener. We're just saying that was some new information last week.
That's new information.
Wow.
If
true,
if proven true.
Yikes.
If that's proven true, that they said that his 14th Amendment rights were violated.
Yeah.
What does that say? Do you have to make changes at Macomb, Dakota if you lose this case because it's alleged, that Taco and his staff did this. But do they get away unscathed with this?
Either way, like you just said, I think the mud's on the face. They're gonna have to use a lot of soap and water to get it off. I don't think it's gonna clear up.
There's people that view Macomb, Dakota as a dirty program
because of this, or just in general. Just
a lot of people in general.
Prior to this,
too, you know what I mean?
Okay.
And you look at Clarkson. Of course, I think Clarkson's a clean program.
Yeah.
I think what Kitchener did was I thought he followed the rules perfectly. The only exception was Macomb, Dakota did not file.
They didn't sign off.
Didn't sign off on it. You know what I mean? I thought the Kitcheners followed everything right. You know what I mean? They moved to Dakota. He's 18. Now, do I think Clarkson's rosy when it comes to transfers? Let's look at Taven Throgmorton. Let's look at Trisha Myson. Let's look at, let's look at Dylan Alderson.
They've had their fair share.
They've had their fair share come in there, but the MHA let them play.
Well, they let them play because the previous school signed off on it, correct? I mean, they're leaving it up to the ADs and the admins to do the paperwork.
Right, but
here's a question. I don't even know if we can get an answer to this. How many instances of non-approval have there been?
Not a lot.
I mean, have there been any?
Not a lot.
I mean, I've never heard. I mean, until this, I'd never heard of people not signing off on these sorts of things.
The reason why this is a well-known case is because this involves a Division I college player, basketball player.
Yeah.
Going to
high
profile player. If this was a kid that was leaving,
if it's you and I, Sam.
If this, let me finish here. If this was a kid that was leaving to go get some playing time, to get a chance to play,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have a problem with it. I really wouldn't, because he's looking to get a better opportunity to play. Now,
but it's always coming. I mean, it's obviously this whole situation and others coming are going to be based on scale, right? This scale, or the level of the athlete, its profile. The program they're coming from or going to. I mean, this was like a perfect storm, right?
This was the perfect storm.
This kind of just swirl around, but I don't think this happens if it's a regular.
If this was a regular student athlete,
yeah.
If this was a regular student athlete, this doesn't happen because now.
But that whole links rule thing.
That links rule is the key here, and I think that's what the MHA is going to use in their defense.
Yes, and I think the.
And the Kitchener family is going
to argue that it's not clear enough, or it's wrong,
or it's wrong, and they're going to probably use the text messages between Taco and his administration against
alleged.
Yes, alleged. You know what I mean? But I think they're going to use that against them. Now, interesting people are going to have to testify in this case. They're going to probably have to be Jeff Cozen. Clarkson's athletic director. Basically, Jack Robertson, Tom Rashad, and Chippewa Valley Superintendent have to show up because it's a federal case.
Yes.
And also, you got to look at, and of course, Macomb Dakota's AD and the principal have to show up as well. But I think the most interesting witness in this whole case is going to be Paul Taco. It's Paul Taco.
It's gonna be interesting to say, hey, read these text messages, or if there are text messages. We're assuming, read this social media post.
If they're text messages, and I think the Kitchener family alleges there are.
Yeah, it sounded like.
Like there are.
Yeah.
Or
emails or something. Yeah.
I mean, they're going to have to get all the phone records. They're going to have to get all of everything all set.
But look at the time is compressed now, right? I mean, the 14th you were saying is the 13th or 14th?
15th is when they're eligible.
All right, so they're having a meeting. What, the 10th?
Yeah.
Okay, so are they gonna? When's it supposed to hit the court? This is pressure. The lawsuit is pressure on Dakota and the MHSAA to go. Maybe we should relook this, or at least the MHSAA to say. Maybe we should look at this.
They're going to fight this. You know what I mean? They're going to battle this in court. I mean, they're going to fight this. They believe that their stance, and the MHA, I've been hearing, is holding on their stance. They got support from the Michigan Interscholastic Athletic Association.
The Coaches Association?
Yeah, they got support from that. I think that was the name of it, but they got support from that in that case with Kitchener.
So they're on the side of
the MHA
school.
and the school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That they followed the rule, perfectly.
It's
whereas
the hard slog for the Kithiers is the links rule.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
If that's
of it,
the rule.
If that's the rule, I mean, Kitchener's still at Clarkston. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, I hear he's doing very well academically. I hear he's doing very well.
Yeah.
But the only issue is getting him on the basketball court.
Yeah.
Now,
do you think there'll be an injunction?
Do I think there will be an injunction?
To let him play? Like they'll do we're going to put a injunction on this ruling. He can play while we wait. Or would they say, okay, no?
That's an interesting question because I've said for the last few weeks is if they do get an injunction to let him play, I mean, so be it.
Yeah.
So be it. I mean, do I think? I mean, you look at Clarkston, and I'm looking at Clarkston's basketball program from a different perspective than what I'm viewing it here because there's a kid in Clarkston. That, and I said this a couple weeks ago, was if there's a kid at Clarkston who worked hard,
yes,
who went through the system with Dan Fife, to
currently
playing, you know what I mean? And all of a sudden, here's a transfer comes in here.
Boom, you're out.
Boom, you're out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what I am. And I feel terrible for, you know what I mean? It's that student. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, because you have a better athlete who's better than you coming in, transferring into your school,
I know.
It wouldn't be right. But do I think he's going to get the injunction? I think he will in this one.
You think so?
I think he will in this one because
it was it just was
I think
odd.
When you look at harassment, when you look at the harassment case, so I would give him the injunction.
Okay, so that was the odd bit from the MHSAA when last week they said, "Oh, we didn't know about this. We're going to have to review it again." And maybe I'm just coming to it with a different set of glasses on, saying, "Well, maybe we can get this thing over with." And that's a good sign that, hey, maybe this dude can play. And we just say, okay, let's rewrite the rule and move on.
Also, Rashad and Roberts, they both recused themselves from this executive committee meeting.
Okay. But with the MHSAA, that's still an organization that is going to say, well, we have to review this.
Right.
And they go, this is new evidence we didn't see.
This is new evidence.
And if that's the case, you got the people who are in question of saying, well, we got a handshake deal that, Dakota gets whatever they want because we're buddies. Not that that's the case, but that's what people are saying.
Here's what I am.
That's Kithier's guys are saying.
And I've talked to some various this is really divided everybody in the media.
Kidding.
No kidding. I mean, you look at Justin Rose at WXYZ, and he is viciously defending the kid here. You know what I mean? Saying let him play.
Yeah.
Let him play. Terry Foster said let him play.
Really?
I mean,
Terry came out of retirement.
And said let him play. I mean, whereas Nick McCabe, Nick McCabe, of course, we read his article a couple weeks ago, and he said, the rules are the rules, and that, all transfers are athletically motivated.
Oh, they are.
They really are.
They are. And again, we keep coming back to the links rule. It's like, it's there.
That's what it is.
But if they can prove that it was selectively enforced by the MHSAA, maybe it was even selectively. I don't even know if it was. I don't think it was implemented when Dakota was getting other transfers, right? If it was, and it's selectively enforced, there's your red flag.
There's your red flag, yeah.
But
and then I got a question to ask you.
I think the only way he can play is if they actually have crazy evidence of him being harassed. He said, "Get me out of here."
Right.
Then they might go, "Okay, well, yeah, this is not looking good. Go ahead, go play."
Okay, here's my question now. Do you think the links rule violates the 14th Constitution? The 14th Amendment of the Constitution.
Well, I need to know more about the 14th Amendment. You got it up there? You pull it up? You go read it? We were reading it at, Friday?
On Friday, yeah. We were reading on Friday.
But I'm trying to figure out how it fits in. Is it due process, right?
That's what it is. It's due process.
So due process, they're saying that his case was handled in a different manner than others, correct?
I'll pull up the lawsuit right now, but I'm saying to you,
it's a due process thing that, hey, you treated me differently because of who I am.
I think if this was treated processed differently, then
I don't know what they would do. I mean, is it civil? Isn't it going to change any rules? I mean, taking it to federal and saying it's one of your constitutional rights were violated is huge.
It's huge. I mean, like.
I couldn't believe it when you told me that.
They said this is what the said in the lawsuit. This action arises under the United States Constitution, particularly under the provisions of the 14th Amendment and under the laws of the United States, particularly under the Civil Rights Act, Title 42 of the United States Code, Sections 1983 and 1988.
Okay.
So that it clearly says in the 14th Amendment that that you have rights. You know what I mean? And that since he was an 18-year-old kid, you know what I mean, and moved in, you know what I mean, he should be allowed to play.
This is one of those crazy things where there's no clear cut. Oh yeah.
This is not a slam dunk case if I'm the kid.
No, and it's not slam dunk on their side or an MHSAA. I mean, again, links rule. If that's the rule, and they're going to say, we're going to do a letter of the law.
The MHSAA is going to viciously fight this in court, saying they're going to defend the rules. You know what I mean? Yeah. Defend them viciously. And this is a case where this is used, and we both said this was going to get ugly. And it already has gotten ugly.
It got considerably more ugly than I thought it would.
But for me, and I do agree with McCabe on some of this. Yeah. This is hard for me to believe that this wasn't an academically motivated transfer.
Yeah,
it's hard.
In my opinion, I don't believe it.
It's hard
at all.
It's hard to believe it.
If you're looking to get out, you're going to look for a reason to leave. And if you can't say, well, I'm leaving because I can't stand the coach, right?
By the looks of it,
you can't say that.
By the looks of it, this is what it's looking like. It's going to be. It's basically Taco, and I know that the relationship between those two deteriorated rapidly. And
if that's the case, if that's true, then you're going to find ways to say, okay, well, we can't do it A. Right. We got to do it B. Right. So where are we going to find evidence of B? And
where are we going to find
any situation coming from a parent of a kid in school, you could always find fault with your school if you really wanted to be nitpicky.
Yeah, but when you look at the comments, but when you look at the comments that Jay Kitchener said in the affidavit, you know what I mean, that saying like saying that that they don't give papers back in a timely manner. To me that's
I would say sense. If they were like moving him out of classes into others or not allowing him to take certain classes because he's an athlete or whatever, definitely. Yeah, there's a problem. Right?
I think, when you look at the
I think they need to have more than just that.
They were so upset, you know what I mean, when Macomb Dakota did. And Macomb Dakota was nervous they were nervous to see Kitchener go, you know what I mean?
Who was nervous?
I would think the basketball staff.
Oh, yeah.
Would have to be.
Yeah, they don't want to be.
How would you feel if one of your best players was leaving your program to go play at another school?
You know what it feels like? It's like the cancer of the college game is leaking into the high schools.
It is.
Where I'm the top guy. I want to go play with my buddy. I go, there's LeBron and Wade.
It's the same thing in
football. The pro side.
It's the same thing in football because when you look at, of course, Detroit Cass Tech, perfect example of this. Detroit Cass Tech's one of the top teams in the state of Michigan. You have a good coach in Thomas Wiltshire. I want to go down there and play for him. A lot of those Southfield kids, a couple years ago, 2 years ago, went down there and played for him.
Yeah.
Where'd it get him? State semifinal?
Yeah, but
they got beat by West Bloomfield. West Bloomfield's now West Bloomfield.
West Bloomfield has their own. Look across the landscape, but it goes back. I don't want to keep saying the same word. Links roll. I think they need to write it more accurately that everybody, no matter what, I know that just says that we don't have the resources to go over all these things.
In the spring.
So then figure it out.
In the spring. Do you see a rule where all transfers have to sit out 180?
I think so. Mandatory. Not this questionable, maybe. And, if you transfer in the spring, you sit out until, what is it, 180 days?
180 days, yeah.
Boom. Done. If you just put that in there, boom, done. So if you're going to leave, regardless if it's academic or athletic, boom, you sit out. And then
But then it's going to open up a new can of worms because a lot of people are going to say, well, legal ramifications.
Well, this is a free society. I know we're a free
society.
I can move. My family can move wherever they want. You might not like it. I'm sorry. But I do have the rights to move around. It's just ridiculous. for high school basketball.
For high school sports in general.
I'm leaving. It's like if we're moving and the family's moving, we're moving.
We're moving.
Who cares what you think?
And then, of course, you
sit out 180 days, there's the real pain.
Okay.
At least on my side.
That's on
yes, I agree with you. 180 days.
I think 180 would make, when you look at it,
you can't make it a year.
You can't make it
like
a year.
college, right?
Not like college, but, let's look at college basketball. I mean, they have to sit out a full year.
Yes.
I mean,
a full year, but they can also come in midway through the season if they leave in the spring term, right? So,
right.
but it is 1 year.
Right. But if you think that would have to implement, 180, you know what I mean? Now, I've always believed in some transfers, you know what I mean? Like that if you transfer in, from a school district, I think, if there are those that are, would you include the Catholic League situation?
Oh, jeez.
Because the Catholic League always goes and recruits them.
Absolutely.
Kids, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
they don't fall under the same rules. Are the Catholic schools are in the MHSA, right?
Correct.
But they don't fall under the same rules. It seems they can go out and recruit.
Right.
They can give scholarships.
Right.
To athletes.
Right. I mean, Detroit Country Day is no stranger to that.
No, they can give scholarships to academic, right? Which they do. But I don't know. I've heard some commentators on the high school side say that the Catholic League should have its own association.
No.
They should be separated from the public schools. Public schools has their own championship, and they have their own. No.
First of all, why would the Catholic League teams want to have their own
play each other?
I mean, to me,
or I should, instead of Catholic, maybe I should say the private schools.
I mean, I would say, when we look at the transfer that affected girls basketball last year, I think all those were athletically motivated sound. They were not academic, in my opinion. I mean, you look at the academic side of it. I mean, what's wrong with Bloomfield Hills, Lake Orion, West Bloomfield? They're all great academic schools.
Yes, they are good schools.
They're great academic schools.
Yes.
So why did those three players decide to transfer to play in the Catholic League? Makes no sense.
But like you just said, athletic.
Yep,
but they can
athletic.
recruit. They can bring you out. It's not. It doesn't seem like it's the same rules. At least on that side, on the private school. I keep saying Catholic, but it's private schools. Private schools can recruit. They can offer scholarships, right? It's completely different.
But do you think that they should be inclined the MHA rule, 180?
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I agree.
If you're going to agree to be a part of a group, an association, then I'm assuming when they sign on and the ADs and the superintendents sign on the dotted line saying we're going to be part of the MHSA and pay your dues, you're also, what else is on there? It's not just it costs this much or whatever if they have dues. I don't even know. But you are going to sign on to the rules and regulations, and you're going to follow.
MHA and you're going to follow the rules.
Yeah. That's how you have organized sport.
Right.
That's not chaos.
That's not chaos. You know what I mean? So basically, what I'm saying is the Kitchener family did everything right. They did everything right, except the Macomb Dakota didn't sign off on it.
I would put an asterisk next to that, everything right.
Probably.
Well, you can say, they on paper, if you lay it out and the way they present it, yes, they did it right.
Right.
Do I believe them 100%?
I don't know.
No.
And then you look at and then I think once the MHA meets this spring,
yeah, what do you think?
They're just going to put everybody on 180.
It would probably be the easiest way.
It's the easiest way.
And they've already said we don't have the manpower to review every transfer. I mean, the numbers of people transferring across the state.
But there's going to be people up in arms when they are going to be people up in arms.
Well, I guess unless they take it on an individual basis, you'd have to appeal it. I'm trying to think too. If you're 180, your family would have to plan their move depending on what sport you're playing and what season.
Yep.
So if you're like say track, you're in the spring or practice starts April?
Yes.
For track, legally or whatever, in the rules, you'd have to go. Well, what's 180 from April 12th or whatever it is, the second week of April. I mean, can you imagine that? Sitting around, well, we're going to sell the house. Oh, no. We can't do that yet because we got to think of track season, back it up 180 or 480 days. Oh, then we have to sell on this day. But it cleans it up a little, don't you think?
It cleans it up a little. I mean,
if you're going to enforce the rules, enforce it.
Yeah, if you want to enforce your rules, enforce it. Enforce it. That includes, and the MHA has been really selective on that, and that bothers me.
Yeah.
But let's see what happens going forward.
Yeah.
All right, when we come back, we're going to talk about recapping the games and why I think why Clarkson's not invincible here on OA Now.
Please remember that CFL bulbs, those curly, energy-efficient light bulbs everybody is using to save electricity, shouldn't be thrown away in your trash. Neither should batteries or home medical sharps. You can check with your local community to see where they can be recycled. Some retailers will allow you to bring them in for recycling. You can also order simple kits online that allow you to collect your recyclables and simply mail them away to be properly recycled. This green tip was brought to you by your friends at Waste Management.
This is Lake Orion's own, the local voice. Call ONTV and get on air 248-393-1060. Let your voice be heard. Internet radio for all. Call ONTV and get on air.
Welcome back to OA Now. I'm Sammy Termino with Ian Locke here.
Nice discussion, Sam. Hot.
Yeah,
hot topic.
Hot topic. Now we can at least cool down a little bit.
Exactly. No more MHSA.
Talk to some surprising teams. I mean, we're going to talk about one big one that we're going to recap a big one that happened that affected the entire state of Michigan. And it was a game at North Farmington that took place. It was between Clarkson and Detroit East English Village Prep. Now, Detroit East English Village Prep just lost to Hazel Park. Hazel Park's very good this year.
Was that a holiday tournament?
Yes, that wasn't a holiday tournament. But the North Farmington game, it was 80-71. Detroit East English Village Prep beat Clarkston.
Ooh.
And they had 42. They got 42 points from Michigan recruit David Julius.
Wow.
And he's a guard. He had 17 in the fourth quarter.
Whoa.
Here's an interesting stat for you. Clarkson was outscored in the fourth quarter. 27-8 in the fourth quarter.
So they were leading.
They had a 22-point lead at one point in the third quarter.
Wow.
And it looked like the Julius took advantage of he had two matchups, including he had one against CJ Robinson, who I thought did an all right job on him early in the first half, He had 18 of his 19 in the first half, and then they put Nick Wells on him. Now, when I look at the matchups and I looked at the plays, and Foster Loyer really did not play well defensively. I mean, whoever has the assignment of going up against Loyer defensively, I mean, take advantage of it, because Southfield took advantage of it last year and got Loyer into foul trouble.
Is it a size thing?
Yeah, size thing. Clarkson has problems against big scoring guards. They have big problems against them.
Yeah.
I mean, it happened to them against Southfield, and it happened in this game. You can't let the Julius go off 42 against you.
42. That is amazing on any level. Dropping 40. I mean, that's crazy.
Well, let's not forget, Clarkson did win the state championship last year.
That is true.
With one loss. So I think this might have been the best thing that happened to him.
Yeah, you always see teams that are projected to be the
undefeated
team.
Yep.
Yeah. And it depends on when you have that loss, but collecting a loss is not a bad thing.
No.
Kind of wakes you up.
No, kind of wakes you up. I mean, you look at the top teams. The team right now sitting undefeated is Hazel Park. I mean, they are undefeated right now.
Good for them.
They are 6-0 right now again, and they've beaten teams with the name Detroit on them. So that tells you that they're playing some good basketball, including they had that big win against Detroit University Detroit Jesuit.
There you go.
But Hazel Park's a team that really surprised me. They got senior leadership. They got a ton of experience. Of course, you have Carl Bow.
Which is huge.
Yep. They have Carl Bow. They have Kari Adams, Devin Pettis, Kyle Washington. I mean, they're playing well right now. They are playing good basketball right now. I mean, you look at what Hazel Park did against Detroit Pershing. They opened up a 23-4 lead on them.
Oh boy.
And that was your whole ball game right there. That was your whole ball game.
Trying to remember back to your predictions. You said they were going to be good, but who saw that coming? Murderers Row in the beginning of the season. But
Hazel Park,
they've handled it.
Hazel Park's really, they played a Murderers Row with schedule, but they've handled it well. They've really handled it well. I mean, they beaten Detroit East English, beat Detroit Loyola. I mean, they beaten Detroit Edison. I mean, they beaten some teams. They beaten some pretty good teams.
Good for them. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and then look at another team that's winless right now, and it's Southfield. They
really?
sit 0-5 in boys. They very young team. Now, when they played Detroit Osborne, they lost by 2 in overtime. And Cameron McEvans, of course, we'll talk about his sister in a minute, which is Cheyenne. But he had 40 points.
Another 40-point
He had 40 points, against Detroit Osborne, and they lost by 2 in overtime.
Well, on 40 points on how many shots?
I don't know how many shots.
Is he sharing the ball?
Yeah, he had 14 in their loss to Harper Woods.
Okay.
So
maybe he's the offense. I mean, maybe they have nothing else.
Well, they got some. I mean, Terrell Humes Kitchener had 11. Okay. Joe Whitefield had 10. I mean, they got balance.
In that contest, yeah.
Yeah, there's some balance there. I mean,
you don't want all of your offense coming from one person because that can get ugly later.
Mm-hmm. North Farmington's a team I really I'm surprised with. I mean, you look at them, Todd Negocian, the Negocian family. Of course, they were in the state final 2 years ago. But they got a measure of revenge knocking off Cincinnati Withrow.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they lost them last year. Danny Georgiage at 18. Cameron McNair at 10. I mean, North Farmington, right now they're off to a nice start. They're sitting at 3-1.
Yeah.
I mean, very interesting how that's unfolded.
Keep an eye on those guys for sure.
Troy Athens, another one. I mean, Troy Athens came from behind to beat Grand Rapids Union. They were down 9, and in the third quarter, came back to beat them. Behind 16 points from Brett Stevens, Jacob Bradley had 9, and Terry McCaskill had 9. This was a big win for Troy Athens this time.
I love comebacks.
Yeah.
You love comebacks?
I do.
There's especially if there's a team, we're obviously promoting the OA and stuff like that, but I love comebacks. If you see the heart of these kids come through, boom, and, they just put it on the line, and to be able to come back like that is amazing. I love that sort of thing.
I do. I mean, Troy Athens, of course, they bounced back. They beat Okemos 46-40. So Troy Athens right now, they're rolling right now. They got Oak Park coming up. Oak Park's they're a good team.
Yeah, Okemos can be a tough one too.
Okemos is always tough. They always are. But they got Troy Athens has Oak Park next. They do. But I want to talk to you about a team that it's on Catalpa Drive, who is sitting at undefeated right now. Names the Berkeley Bears and Joe Sermo.
Yeah.
They sit 6-0. Played Madison Heights Bishop Foley. Won that one. They have 2 good wins against Madison Heights Madison and Bishop Foley. Other than that, their schedule is pretty
easy.
Yeah. But when they get in the league play, it's considering that you have Lake Orion, Rochester, Pontiac, and Farmington in there. I mean, for Berkeley, they're very athletic. Although I don't trust their interior game. Okay. I mean, they have 2 very good guards. They have 2 very good guards in Greg McGee and Jason Holloway. Both of them at 14, they're winning against Bishop Foley. They're right now riding with confidence the way they're playing.
Heck yeah, man, undefeated.
I mean, they're playing really well right now. They're playing really well right now. But there were some games they had to win ugly, like the Madison game and then the Bishop Foley game. That game was much closer than the score indicated.
Okay.
I mean, had Bishop Foley made some shots, you know what I mean? Who knows what happens? Who knows? But Berkeley right now, they're playing well right now.
Yeah,
They're
undefeated.
playing very well right now. They're undefeated right now.
Hey, until they lose a game, they're the big dog.
But the schedule, when you look at the teams in that blue division, it's played a really tough non-conference schedule. You got to look at Pontiac, even though they sit 1-5. They played a really difficult schedule.
Yeah, that's true.
Lake Orion, they played a really difficult non-conference schedule. Farmington,
Where is Lake Orion currently sitting?
they're sitting at 4-1 right now.
4-1.
And then you look at Rochester, of course. Rochester had that big one against Stony Creek. And then Stony Creek's the team I want to talk about right now
Yeah.
because they lost Mike Molinari. He's out for the year.
Oh no.
What they really bad, had a really bad injury. He injured against Detroit Loyola at Corona.
That was a winter tournament then?
Yep. And then Stony Creek had to play Wall Lake Northern at North Farmington 1-4 behind they had behind their leader Nate Davis, and of course they also had points from Patrick Gowley. Now I've seen Gowley play. I mean, he can be a player. He can be a player.
Okay.
I think he's a raw talent. I think he's raw. I mean, and I'm not saying it in a bad way because I think he hasn't had a lot of varsity experience. I mean, until now, but. He had 17 points. Davis had 15.
Raw talent at 17 sounds a little bit better than raw.
No, 17 points.
I know, but I'm saying he got 17 points with raw talent. What can he do when he gets rounded into shape?
I'm waiting until there's some teams in the white that could give Stony Creek problems. I think Oak Park will give him problems. I think Oxford's going to give him problems.
Yeah. Oxford's a pain in the neck, man.
Oxford's been playing really well since that overtime loss to Lake Orion.
Yes.
They've really played really well. I mean, you look at
that was a good game.
You look at Oxford. They are 2-0 since that game. They laid waste to Lapeer. They blew them out. Lapier's got a very good guard. And then they went and played Richmond and Emily City. Blew them out. 60-38. I mean,
wow.
Michael Raish had 16. Jimmy Claudio had 15. And Nolan Hiller had 10. Both over 3-pointers. That's a team I'm high on. It's Oxford.
Yeah.
I'm very high on Oxford. I like what Steve Laidlaw's done with that team. Yeah, they've lost 3 very good players. When you look at Jaron Lavalis, you look at Ray Levine and Jordan Jade.
Yeah. That team had a lot of energy. I mean, maybe it was the rivalry at Lake Orion because I saw footage of that.
Yeah.
Good game.
It was
exciting, entertaining. But
really good game.
Yeah.
I think Oxford's in really good shape.
Those Wildcats are. Yeah.
I think the Wildcat, and I think our friend Bill Service knows that they're going to be fine.
Absolutely.
They're going to be just fine.
Yep.
I mean, and the other teams to talk about here that played, I think we got Avondale. They had that big win. They've actually started rolling a little bit. They've won 3 straight. They even beat Rochester.
Oh, boy.
And Vance Kirkwood who was wearing an oddly dressed red tuxedo, got thrown out in that game.
The coach?
Yeah, he got teed up twice.
Because he wore the tuxedo?
He wore a red tuxedo. He's worn a blue tuxedo against Stony Creek, wore a red blazer against Avondale. And
But he lose a bet?
I don't know. But
teed up. And
yeah, he
really?
got thrown out. He can't coach in the game against Pontiac.
Oh, wow. You don't see that often in the high school game.
But the Avondale, you know what I mean? Avondale won 59-52 against Troy Frederick Douglass. Nick Whiteside at 13 points. They've won 4 straight since losing both Lake Orion and Detroit.
Yeah, Avondale, a lot of athletic ability. It's a fast team.
It looks like they finally learned to hit free throws.
Well, free throws and to stop fouling.
Yeah, stop fouling.
Fouling killed them.
I think Tim Morton really addressed it. I think Tim Morton really fixed that up and addressed it.
They got players on that team. They were fun to watch, too.
I'm talking about Bloomfield Hills. You know what I mean? Bloomfield Hills lost another tough one to Detroit Western, 42-40. That's going to be that's an interesting team to keep an eye on. They got coming up Clarkston.
Ooh.
That's going to be bad. That'll be horrible.
Well, maybe there'll be an upset.
No. Doubt it. Anyway, and then, of course, let's talk about Troy. I mean, Troy, their only loss was to Plymouth Canton. A heck of a game. Troy's experience. They played Canton's pretty good.
Yeah.
Plymouth Canton's pretty good. I mean, they couldn't overcome late, but it is what it is. I mean, I think Troy will be in the thick of that this year. I think they'll be in the thick of it.
Yeah.
I like Gary Freilich's team a lot. I really do.
Troy's athletic complex over there on all levels is really solid. I mean, kids are really playing well over there.
Oh, yeah. Then I want to talk about girls basketball before we sign off.
Yeah, let's see here. Let's get some updates there, Sammy.
Of course, some Southfields won 2 straight games. I mean, now they sit 3-5 since the screw job against Clarkson.
Yes.
I think they're rolling right now with Shai McEvans and Alexis Johnson. McEvans at 30 points.
Wow.
Bloomfield Hills beat River Rouge. They beat them behind barrage of 3-point shooting from them. And there was a barrage of 3-point shooting. They were 9 for 38, 8 of 39 for 3-point range.
39?
39 3-point attempts. 39.
That is a lot.
And then we got Clarkston. Of course, they're rolling right now. They're at 7-1. Destroyed Detroit Mumford. A team I think North Farmington, oddly enough, they've lost 2 straight games. They played 2 really good teams, but I think Jeff Simpson's team is fine. Stony Creek, the Paul Feinbaums, picked them a nice win against Flat Rock.
Okay.
Cougars, they picked them a nice win. I like Kellen James' team a lot. The team I want to talk about is Farmington. They are 59. I mean, they were 5-2. I really love Olivia Perkins over there at Farmington. I mean, she played at Harrison. You know, she's one of the players that came over there.
Yeah.
You know, I'm good friends with her dad, Charles. I mean, like, really good man. Olivia Perkins had 22 points.
Nice.
She is the real deal. I am surprised not a lot of people are looking at this girl. I mean, like, she is a hard worker.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, if I want a Division I team to look at this girl right now. Yeah. She is that good. She is seriously that good. Groves beat Pontiac Notre Dame Preparatory. Groves, they're still fine right now, even though they sit 5-2.
Yeah.
West Bloomfield, they had a tough loss to Royal Oak Shrine. As a team, I can't figure out right now with all the talent they have.
Yeah. That's a surprise.
And of course, talk about Bloomfield Hills earlier about beating River Rouge with Jordan Banks. They're big, had 17 points. Marie Machine Grace gets at 15 points each from the 3-point line. And of course, Troy Athens getting beat by Chippewa Valley 32-28. You know, bad loss for them. So we'll see what happens. My final thoughts, I'm a little surprised we didn't talk much about girls basketball. We will next week.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
We'll get more. Hey, a lot of games this week,
A lot of games this week.
School's back in session.
School's back in session, weather permitting. But, but we'll see what happens going forward.
Yeah.
Okay, now, everybody, I'm Sammy Termine here. I'm going to sign it off here. Take care, everybody. Enjoy your week, everybody.
Thanks, Sam. Away Now is produced by Sammy Taramina and Orient Neighborhood Television. All opinions are his and his alone, including mine sometimes. If you're interested in having your own podcast here at Orient Neighborhood Television and the local voice, give us a call at 248-393-1060. See ya.